All right, everyone. I want to welcome you to our online event today. My name is Dave Dubeau, and you're about to discover how to create an additional $40,000 to $80,000 per year net income as a trade exchange member with my Canadian rent-to-own three-way payday. So I'm going to show you how to make big cash up front, outstanding monthly cash flow from your revenue properties, and nice checks at closing. So we're going to get started here in just a second. We're going to let people come on. We're going to see if we've got people coming on as we're going along. And I want to welcome everyone to our event today. This is going to be a lot of fun. And I really want to thank especially Des Regier and Dave from Trade Exchange Canada in Kelowna for promoting this event. That's really appreciate that you guys have been an active member of Trade Exchange Canada since, I think it was 2004 that I started up. Absolutely love trade, and I'll tell you a little story about Trade Exchange and how it's had an amazing impact on my life as well. So I want to thank everybody for that. Okay, I got some messages coming in that we might have some audio challenges. So just make sure that everything's working right. And let's see. I'll just double check with my assistant here. Karen, make sure that the audio is working all right. Can you hear me good on the speakers? Yep, okay. Well, it looks like it's working good at our end, so I hope it's working well for everybody. Let's make sure I just got all my technology working here. So yeah, we got people coming on the line as we go. So again, thank you very much for everybody for spending some time with us today. So again, if you just came on the line, this is how to create an additional $40,000 to $80,000 per year net income as a trade exchange member with my Canadian rent-own three-way payday. So let me ask you a few questions before we jump in. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to keep your business going as is and still invest in real estate part-time without spending a lot of time or effort or money at doing it? How'd you like to get $500, $800, even $1,000 a month or more net positive cash flow from a rental property? How about creating an extra full-time income with just 4 or 5 little rent-own deals? And best of all, how about doing all this without having to deal with pain in the you-know-what tenants and toilets? All right, so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I want to share with you guys how would you like to get into a real estate deal in the next 60 to 90 days that can make you an extra $20,000, $30,000, even $40,000 in net profits? How about being able to create an extra full-time income with just a few easy little rent-to-own deals on the go? How about learning a proven step-by-step system that will virtually guarantee you doing a profitable rent-to-own deal? Well, if you're looking for that, you're definitely in the right place. Okay, so you're about to discover cutting-edge strategies to create phenomenal cash flow way better than traditional buy and hold properties. How to get into rent-to-own real estate investing even with no money down or having to use investors. And how to virtually eliminate tenant and toilet headaches forever. So in the next 75 minutes, I promise you 2 things. That's right, 2 things. I'm going to show you and teach you how to do the rent-to-own business here in Canada, here in British Columbia, and how to do it part-time while you're using the resources that you already have as a business owner. So hopefully you're ready to get going and start learning about how to make big money with rent-to-own real estate investing. So I'm also going to cover my secret 5 steps to financial freedom through rent-to-own real estate investing. Okay, so before we go too much further, let me do a little compare and contrast comparing traditional buy and hold strategy versus rent-to-own real estate investing. So with traditional buy and hold, and again, if you are a traditional real estate investor, don't get your hair up about this. I'm going to compare and contrast a little bit, just show the pros and the cons of both. I do firmly believe that buy and hold investing is a great plan for long-term wealth creation. So don't get me wrong about that. My challenge with it is short-term cash flow. So traditional buy and hold typically very, very low net cash flow every month. My good friend and professional real estate investor, Ken Beaton, who has over 120 properties in his portfolio, 120 doors in his portfolio, says he's lucky. He's shooting to get $50 to $75 per month per door net positive cash flow. So that's okay if you've got 120 doors, but getting from 0 to that 120 to get that kind of cash flow is quite a challenge for a lot of people. So I want to show you how to do real estate investing the rent-to-own way and get phenomenal cash flow. Again, I'm talking about $500 to $800, $1,000 a month or more from one little single-family home. Next, with traditional landlording, you have to deal with those dreaded 3 a.m. plugged toilet calls. That's one of the things that keeps so many people out of real estate investing, especially if you're a busy business owner. Last thing you want to get is one of those 3 a.m. telephone calls to come fix somebody's toilet. With rent-to-own real estate investing, you virtually eliminate tenant and toilet headaches, and I'll show you exactly why that is. Traditional buy and hold is a long-term strategy. Again, we're looking at 7, 10, 15, 20, 25 years is the kind of term that you're looking at to really make buy and hold make sense. With rent-to-own, we're looking at quick returns. 2 or 3 year deals are most common. With traditional buy and hold, there is no clear exit strategy. You really have to be timing the market. So let's say you've got a 5-year plan or a 7-year plan, and the market takes a turn at those 7 years. Then you have to readjust your plan. You're not sure exactly when or how you're going to get out of the deal. Plus, with traditional buy and hold, especially nowadays with the banks tightening up the rules, you need to come up with 20 to 35% of a down payment to get into the property. Rent-to-own, you've got a defined exit strategy after your 2 or 3 years. You know exactly how much you're paying to get into the property and how much you're going to be getting out of the property at the end. And there's low to no risk. And even a way I'll show you about with no money down. All right, so I want to give you an example of one of the deals that I've got currently on the go in my portfolio right here in Kamloops. In this particular situation, I got a $12,000 non-refundable option deposit, option fee from my client with this property. I'm getting outstanding monthly cash flow of a little over $1,100 a month net from this one little single-family home, and I'm going to see a nice little payday at the end of just over $2,300 as well, for a total profit on this particular deal of over $40,000. So I think the time is definitely now if you want to get involved with rent-to-own real estate investing, because most people procrastinate their lives away. They think about getting involved in real estate, but they never quite make the commitment and jump into it. Technology has made this kind of business so much easier than ever before, and I really believe that this is a ground floor opportunity. Sure, there are other people out there doing rent-to-own real estate investing, but not many folks are doing it professionally. Not very many folks are doing it the right way. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do on today's presentation. And this program is made by Canadians for Canadians. I'm a Canadian living right here in British Columbia. I live in Kamloops. I do my real estate investing in and around Kamloops. If it works here, it'll definitely work wherever you are. If you're in the Thompson Okanagan, if you're in the, down on the coast, anywhere in Canada, this method will work. So I'm sure by now you've got an idea that I might have something to offer you at the end, and I won't disappoint you. So I want to get you very, very excited about rent-to-own so that you want to get involved with my new system, which is the rent-to-own cash-on-demand system for Canadians. I'm going to show you a very special opportunity as a trade exchange member at the end of the presentation on how you can get involved in this fantastic program. So in a moment, I'm going to show you and teach you how to get started making money fast with rent-to-own real estate investing. And again, I'm going to show you a step-by-step system to get $500, $800, even $1,000 or more per month per deal. But before I jump into that, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself and who I am, where I come from, so that you and I can connect and see why I'm here and what qualifies me to talk to you about rent-to-own real estate investing. So again, so who is Dave Dubeau? Well, I am president of Results Holdings, BC Rent to Buy, another company called Results Enterprises as well. My claim to fame in real estate back in the day was doing 18 flips in 18 months. Then I went and worked with Darren Weeks of Fast Track for several years. And long and short of it is, when it comes to real estate investing, I've been involved for over 15 years. I have the pleasure and the honor of helping to train and teach thousands of real estate investors across Canada. So originally I'm a redneck from a little town around Fort St. John, BC. The town's called Taylor, BC. And the claim to fame of my hometown was CBC recently did a show called Village on a Diet. So my hometown is most famous for having a bunch of fat people living in it. When I was growing up, there were a grand total of 800 people who lived in the town. It has since ballooned up to over 1,400 people. I hope you got a little chuckle out of that. Ballooned up, get it? You know, Village on a Diet. All right, I'm sorry. My jokes don't get much better, you guys. That top picture shows me and a bunch of my redneck buddies. I am the short guy in the middle with the big mouth. Some things haven't changed a lot except for the hairstyle. Okay. After I graduated from high school in Fort St. John, I went to the University of British Columbia. Didn't go there straight. I didn't quite have the grades to get in my first year, so I had to do a year of community college in Fort St. John. Then I went to UBC and got a basically asinine degree, a BA in psychology. And I didn't have great grades. I think I had a 2.3 grade point average out of 4. And right around the time that I graduated, which was way back in 1990, we were going through a little bit of a similar situation to what we have right now. The economy was in the slumps. It was a bit of a recession. And for some reason, I still can't understand, I wasn't getting any great job offers with my little Bachelor of Arts degree in psychology. So I said, what the heck? I'm going to go travel around and see a bit of the world. So I went down to Mexico and spent a year living around beautiful Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. Did the beach bum thing, had a lot of fun, did a few different kinds of jobs. That top left picture is from when I was working as an extra on a TV series there, which was kind of interesting. It was actually a joint Canadian-Israeli production filmed in Mexico for American television. And the program was called Sweating Bullets. It was all Canadian actors. It was supposed to be kind of a combination of Miami Vice, Magnum PI, that sort of thing, that whole idea. If you haven't heard of it, that's because it only had 6 episodes that aired before they pulled it off the airwaves. So there went Sweating Bullets. It was a lot of fun while it lasted. After hanging around in Mexico, I decided to go check out the rest of Mexico and Central America. Spent about a year and a half traveling through Guatemala, El Salvador, Nicaragua, all sorts of great places. Learned some Spanish along the way, had a lot of fun, met some great people, saw some fantastic places. And then I ended up in beautiful San Jose, Costa Rica. Absolutely loved the country, fell in love with the country, fell in love with the people, and fell in love with one specific person, that's for sure. And I thought, what the heck? By that time, I was 23, 24 years old. I had $800 to my name. I was a tourist in this beautiful country. I had no business experience, no contacts, and in a foreign language, and I thought, why don't I start my own business? How tough could it be? Yeah, right. Not only that, by the time when I started the business, I was actually an illegal alien working illegally in a foreign country, because as a tourist, you're not supposed to start up a business in Costa Rica. But I did, started up a language training company, and we would send teachers on site to corporations to train their employees and their executives in how to speak English better. I met and married my lovely wife, Susie. She made a legal man out of me, and we have 2 wonderful children. My daughter, Amy, who's now 13, my son, Andrew, and my family is definitely my why. This is why I like to get up in the morning and come to work and do what I do, that's for sure. Then we moved back to Canada in 2003. So a lot of people say, Dave, what are you, crazy? You were living in Costa Rica, you had a great business, things were going well. Why the heck would you come back to Canada from tropical paradise? And, well, the long and the short of it is, Costa Rica is beautiful. I love the country, but you don't realize how good we have it in Canada until you live overseas for a while. So really grew to appreciate Canada. Susie and I decided that we'd like our children to grow up and to go to school in Canada. So we picked up everything, we packed up our bags, left everything behind in Costa Rica, and moved to Canada. So I had to start all over again from scratch. I had no contacts, no job, no credit, very little money. We decided to move to Kamloops because, again, climate was a big issue, seeing that my wife's from Costa Rica. Fort St. John just was not going to cut it. So we moved to Kamloops. So then the question was, what am I going to do? That that's when I jumped into creative real estate investing. I spent over $10,000 on different courses and seminars. I saw a few of those late-night TV infomercials, how to get rich in real estate, from our good friends a little south of the border. Bought some of those programs, went through them. They didn't quite work here in Canada. I did get the ideas, some of the concepts. A lot of it was completely not applicable to our Canadian situation, but I found what I could use. I Canadianized it, and between 2003 and 2005, I did 18 flips in 18 months, which was my claim to fame for a while. And by far, out of those deals, the most profitable ones that I did were the rent-to-own deals, and that's when I got really excited about doing rent-to-own. Then in, I believe it was 2004, I met Canadian rich dad Darren Weeks, and here's where it gets kind of interesting. So I originally met Darren, and he just started up a business called Doorknob Ads, and I became the 4th licensee in the country as part of that. Started selling advertising on these doorknob ads, which are still going quite strong in Kelowna. New folks own that business in Kelowna right now, but I just got it up and going, and that's when I joined Trade Exchange, met Des Regier, and I got together with the Trade Exchange guys and just absolutely fell in love with Trade Exchange. So I was working along with that, and I actually saw one of their weekly bulletins, I think it was something from Vancouver actually, that the folks in Kelowna were promoting. It was about an event that was going to be made available on trade. So it was on 100% trade. The event piqued my interest. I went down, did a one-day boot camp with a gentleman named Robin J. Elliott, got one idea from that boot camp, which I applied, and I approached Darren Weeks with Fast Track about doing that. And that one idea evolved into a multi-million-dollar business and a relationship that has spanned for, good 6-7 years now, and just led into all sorts of wonderful things. So a lot of the success I've enjoyed. I have to give credit to. It all kind of came back from that initial contact I got from Trade Exchange. That's why I'm so excited about today's event and want to be able to give back to my fellow Trade Exchange members and give an opportunity like I was given back in the day. So again, Des, Scott Berg from Trade Exchange in Vancouver, thank you guys very much. Always love trade, always have. When it comes to marketing, Dave definitely knows his stuff. As I've said at my events numerous times, I think Dave is the best marketer in Canada. The results he has got from my company prove it. That's again from my good friend, Canadian rich dad Darren Weeks. I had the privilege of working with Darren, helping him market his companies. Took his database from 15,000 to well over 100,000 people who've come out to his events. Took him from when I started working with him, he had 4 employees. Now he's up to over 120 employees across 3 or 4 different provinces, and I think they've got 8 branch offices now. They've been in the Profit 100 list of fastest growing companies in Canada 3 years in a row, and I'm glad that I had something to do with that. I never lost my passion for real estate investing. So I started teaching with Darren, and later with my good friend Ken Meaton, with whom I wrote the book, Creative Real Estate Investing for Canadians. I mentioned Ken a few minutes ago. Speaking of books, I just published my newest one, Rent-to-Own Profits for Canadians, which I wrote with my big brother Dan Dubeau. And Dan is a professional rent-to-own investor with over 25 years worth of experience, and he's based in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So Dan's been investing in real estate for over 25 years and focusing specifically on rent-to-own for the last 4 years, I believe. I'm a bit of an adrenaline junkie, love doing fun stuff. Here's a recent skydiving escapade, my first solo jump. Big look of relief on my face there. Having some fun down in Mexico doing zip lines in the jungle. Trying my hand at surfing in Mexico, which sounds kind of depressing, but if you know anything about surfing, if you look at the background, you do not see any real Hawaii 5-0 sized waves back there. So took it pretty easy. A little tropical kayaking with my wife Susie, and up north at Powder King, actually near Prince George, skiing with my kids, which we love to do every Easter. So that's a little bit about me. And thanks to doing this kind of fun work, I'm able to do a lot of cool stuff, hang out with some wonderful people. Here's a picture of some of us, a group of us who went down to Mexico a couple of years ago. Last year and this year, a group of us went down to Scottsdale, Arizona, where we met up with the Rich Dad Gang. Top left picture, you'll see myself, Dave Dubeau. In the middle is Ken McElroy. On the right is Darren Weeks. Ken McElroy is a Rich Dad advisor to Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, and he's their real estate expert, the real estate advisor. That trip was a blast. We did the Grand Canyon thing, helicopter thing, all sorts of stuff. It was a lot of fun. Get to meet some very cool picture. Here's a picture with George Foreman. Quick little word of advice for you. If you ever meet George, do not say, hey, George, you've got this lean, mean grilling machine thing going. If it's so good, how come you aren't all that lean? That's the kind of reaction you'll get from George if you say that. Actually, we're just joking around. He is a huge, huge man. Now, I'm not that big, but I'm not a complete shrimp either. But if you look at that picture, he's actually sitting on a stool, and I'm standing up right next to him. The right-hand picture is myself with Robert Herjavec. He's from the Dragon's Den and the Shark Tank. Much shorter, kinder, and gentler individual than George Foreman. So I've had the pleasure of sharing the stage with some very fantastic folks. And one of the things I love most is teaching real estate investing, specifically how to do profitable rent-to-own deals. That's what I really enjoy doing. So here's a couple of pictures of some folks out at some different boot camps and training sessions. All right, so let's jump right in. So I'm seeing that people, here's some of the biggest challenges that people are having when it comes to real estate investing nowadays. I'm seeing that they don't have much time. This is especially true for entrepreneurs and small business owners. People say, Dave, I'm interested in real estate investing, but I'm running my business. How can I do this and run my own business as well? There's just there are not enough hours in the day. And I'm going to show you how you can take what you currently have. Same idea as what you're doing with Trade Exchange. It's leveraging what you already have to make this a real possibility for you and your business. Other people are concerned they don't know how to get started. They're concerned about where to turn if they get stuck. Other people have low self-esteem. They think this thing only works for other people, not for them. And some folks think it just won't work in their area. Maybe it'll work in Kamloops for Dave, but it won't work here in Kelowna or Vernon or where have you for me because the market's different. And that's absolutely untrue. This will work everywhere. And there is the solution. Again, like I mentioned, it's my rent-own, cash-on-demand system for Canadians. I figured it out, and my system is the solution for you on how to get up and running quickly, effectively, and affordably, and most importantly, profitably with that rent-own real estate investing right here in Canada, and specifically in BC. Now, did you know that there's an absolutely huge market of prospective clients for rent-own? I've seen different statistics, anywhere between 20 and 30% of all Canadians who can afford a mortgage right now do not qualify with the strict bank requirements that are going on right now. And our finance minister is tightening things up. CMHC is tightening things up, making it more and more difficult for first-time homeowners to get into their first home. So our market is absolutely huge. That is a huge market. 20 to 30% of Canadians who can afford a mortgage. That means they have the income for it. They've got good, steady jobs. They can afford to pay their mortgage payments, but they still don't qualify with the picky big banks right now. So that is a huge opportunity for us. Okay, so if you're going to take notes, now is definitely the time to start taking some notes. And I'm going to share with you my 5 steps to massive profits in Canadian rent-owned real estate investing. And I'll go over each one of these more in depth. Step 1, attracting clients. Step 2, pre-screening, getting money up front. Step 3 is getting the property. Step 4, getting your client qualified and enjoying the cash flow. And step 5 is cashing out. So I'm going to share with you and teach you these 5 steps to get up, running, and profitable in rent-owned real estate investing in any market. So let's jump right in and get going with that. All right, here's kind of a visual look at it. And I'm going to give you a couple of these strategies. The rest you're going to learn and discover in my rent-owned cash-on-demand system for Canadians. And just rhetorical type question, but what do you think? If I can do multiple deals in Kamloops, could you do at least one deal wherever it is that you live? I'm sure you can. And beautiful thing is you can use the skills you already have as a business owner and apply it to this business, because rent-owned done the right way really is a business. So apply what you've already got, the skills that you've already had, to real estate investing to make money from that as well. So again, here's a visual of it. Attract your clients, pre-screen them, quickly sift and sort, acquire the property, help your client get qualified, and cash the checks. And at the end of that, you've got a sound that I love to hear, which is cha-ching. All right. Now, step 1 is attracting clients. So again, if we're treating this like a business, It's like any business. You have to do advertising, you have to do marketing, you have to get the word out about who you are, what you do, and how you can attract people, how you can benefit people. So the first thing you definitely want to have is a powerful lead generation website. And I mentioned before that technology nowadays has made this real estate investing technique so much easier than it used to be. And the biggest thing is having a very good, solid lead generation website. Why is that so important? Because the website can do the job of a salesperson for you. It can help you sift, sort, and filter through those folks. They come to your website, they watch, they opt in first of all, then they watch videos about what the rent-to-own program is, how it works, whether it's good for them or not, whether they fit into the program or not, and then if they're interested, they can fill out an online application form, which automatically gets emailed to you. Plunk, it's right there in your email box. You don't have to be spending tons of time on the phone saying the same thing over and over and over again. Let the technology do all the heavy lifting for you. Next, if you've got the website, you need traffic going to it. The best things I found for that is online advertising, typically with online classified ads, things like Kijiji and Craigslist and what have you, work phenomenally well for putting traffic to your website. That said, you don't want to turn your head against or turn your back on old school marketing either. So newspaper ads, classified ads can still be very, very effective. If you've looked at the classified section of newspapers nowadays, it's way, way skinnier than it used to be. Excuse me for a second. Which can be good, can be bad. I look at it as a positive because there's a lot less competition for the reader's eyeballs for your ads. Everybody's going to online free classified ads, so you've got a bit of a competitive advantage if you're the only real estate investor in the paper in the classified section. Then there's business cards and tear tab signs, and then my favorite, and that is probably the simplest, easiest, and least expensive marketing strategy that's available to us, and that's turning your vehicle into a rolling billboard with vehicle signage. So the top two pictures show my I Buy Houses minivan from several years ago when I was doing my 18 flips. And those were permanent signs on that. And I got my most profitable flip deal from those signs and a couple of smaller deals as well. Bottom picture is a picture of my current vehicle, an FG Cruiser, bright yellow. You can see it with my rent-own signage on it. It definitely stands out. And I can track at least one of my deals to that sign. And let's see, I spent about $100 or so on these magnetic signs. That deal is going to net me over $38,000 over 2 years. So let's see the return on my marketing investment. $100 in, $38,000 out. How would you like to get that kind of return on your marketing dollar? Well, you can when you turn your vehicle into a rolling billboard. So just a few tips about that. A lot of people are very shy about putting signs on their vehicle. They're worried about what their spouse is going to say, what their kids are going to say, what their neighbors are going to say, what their mother-in-law is going to say, etc., etc. I say don't worry about that. If it makes you money, do it. But if you are concerned about that, you can take the route that I did and create magnetic signs. So if my wife and I want to go out on the town and she doesn't feel like driving around in the renting sucksmobile, then I just peel off those magnetic signs, put them in the back, drive around with my wife, with my kids, what have you. When I drop them off at home, plunk the signs back on, and off we go. So magnetic signs are a great solution if you don't want to have the permanent signage on there. Definitely by far the least expensive marketing and most effective that you can do. Biggest bang for your buck, that's for sure. Okay, now you know that I got a system for you. I'm going to offer it to you at the end of the presentation. The opportunity is a step-by-step system that will teach you how to get into profitable rent-own investing and create that full-time extra income that you want. And here's a testimonial from one of my students. Thank you, Dave, for everything. This course exceeded my expectations. Along with your rent-to-own expertise, you brought in some very interesting weekly guests that just augmented the course content extremely well. You got me to take action each week, which I'm thankful for. I'm miles ahead with my own rent-to-own company in Ottawa than I was before the course. Thanks again. And that's from Chris Vaudry in Ottawa, Ontario. All right, so for following along, we're on step number 2 of my 5-step program. Once you get your marketing machine up and rolling, you're definitely going to get a lot of people who are very excited about working with you with your rent-to-own program. Again, over 20% of all Canadians who can afford a mortgage can't qualify for one right now. That is a huge market, and it's just getting bigger. So you're going to have to know how to quickly and efficiently pre-screen your prospective rent-to-own clients. Here's what you want to look for. We want to look for a minimum income. So for myself in Kamloops, we're looking for a minimum income of at least $40,000 per year gross family income for the whole family. So that's before taxes, and that's to get into typical starter homes here in Kamloops. If you're in Kelowna, if you're in the Lower Mainland where higher home prices are the norm, then you have to look at what is the minimum gross family income that's needed to get into a starter home in your family, in your area. You can quickly find that out with a real estate agent. Next step is credit fixability. So a lot of our folks that we're going to be working with have credit challenges. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Those are the kind of folks that we're working with. So people that have gone through bankruptcy, they're fantastic to work with because once they've been discharged, if they're responsible, they can become qualified again for a mortgage within 2 years. New immigrants to the country who haven't had time to establish credit, they're fantastic to work with. People who've been all cash buyers for a long time, they're fantastic to work with as well. We can get them, they can't qualify for a mortgage right now, they haven't established credit, but we can get their credit up to where it needs to be very, very quickly. So you want to make sure that their credit can be fixed within 2 to 3 years. So again, typically we're looking for credit scores of at least the 450 range. Next, you want to see why can they not buy right now? What's their situation? What's the story? What's the reason that they can't qualify for a mortgage right now? And really dig and find out what the true story is. Next, you want to see is what do they have for skin in the game or cash on hand. So you want to make sure that they got some cash to be able to put towards getting into their next home, to get into their own home. And last but definitely not least, realistic expectations. So if you've got a family that's making $50,000 or $60,000 a year, and they want you to get them into $1 million home, they are completely out to lunch. You cannot work with people that are from another planet, right? If they're that, they have to have realistic expectations. They have to be able to. You have to be able to work within their price range, and they have to want a house that's in their price range and realistically they can afford. All right, if there's any program worthwhile taking in order to help you jump into action, this has to be it. Dave's ability to teach, explain, and stir us up to get us going is one thing that kept me on the live training every single week. By following his well-defined steps, I've been able to realize my dream of having a solid real estate investment business and still help folks get into homes they may have never been able to acquire without this system. That's Gary Levesque from Victoria, BC. All right, step number 3. Getting in the property. So the method that I'm teaching you right now is what I call my client first rent-to-own method. There are 3 different methods of rent-to-own. My favorite is the client first method. I'll talk about another method as well, which is sandwich leases in a moment. But here what we're doing is we're starting with our client first, hence the name. We're finding a person that qualifies for a system, doesn't quite qualify for a mortgage right now, but who will in the next 2 to 3 years. They've got a good job, steady income, they've got some cash, they've got fixable credit, they're keen to go with the program. So we're going to start with that client first, and then we're going to send them out with one of our friendly realtor friends to go shop the market for a house that fits their needs. So they've got a parameter, they know how much home they can afford to get into, and we send them out with the realtor to find the house that they like the best. They then pick 2 or 3 different options. We're going to check out the property, get their number 1 option checked out by a professional home inspector. If everything looks good, then we'll put an offer in on the property. We'll probably put an offer in on the property first, then get it checked out, go into negotiations, and then we're going to buy it or get the property under contract. A lot of people say, Dave, okay, how are we going to buy this? If you have the wherewithal, you can buy it yourself. You can be the investor. And if you don't have the financial wherewithal right now, or if you bought 1 or 2 deals, you can then work with investors. You work with them. They will buy it and you will put the whole deal together as the rent-to-own investor. So again, that's step number 3. We want to get the property, and if you want to write down some kinds of properties you definitely want to avoid, this is very, very important. I will not work with rural properties. So I don't want to be working with hobby farms, acreages, that sort of thing. Properties that are way out of town, or what I call orphan properties. And the reason for that is because I always want to look at things from a worst case scenario. If the deal doesn't work out and I get this property back on my plate, how easily, quickly, and effectively can I either turn around and get somebody else into it on a rent-to-own deal, or sell it, or rent it out, or what have you. And if it's a hobby farm or a rural property, that's a lot more challenging. Also with rural properties, you've got a lot of issues that you have to be concerned about. So if you've got a septic tank or that sort of thing, septic field, that could be a potential problem. If you've got a well, that can be a potential huge problem as well. Very, very expensive problems. So I just avoid rural properties altogether. The other kind of property that we avoid are mobile homes in mobile home parks. So you want to avoid mobile homes in mobile home parks. And a lot of people say, well, Dave, why do you want to do that? And the reason is because you don't, when you buy a mobile home in a park, you don't own the property underneath that mobile home. You're just renting the pad. So if you get in a snit with the property, with the manager of the mobile home park, he can literally kick you out and your property out too. They can drag out your mobile home and leave it on the side of the road, and there you are without a pad underneath you. So it's a very risky kind of thing, if you ask me. Plus, you don't have enough control. You don't own that property underneath you. The other kind of property that I avoid are mobile homes in general. So for whatever reason, in the past I didn't have any problem working with mobiles on their own property. But right now the banks are getting very, very tight with things. They do not like to loan money to investors to buy mobile homes as investment properties. So I'm just avoiding and suggesting to all my students, avoid mobile homes in general. All right? So those are 2 big kinds of properties that you definitely want to avoid. The third biggest kind of property that you want to avoid are fixer-uppers. So you want to buy a property that is pretty much ready to move into. If it needs a little bit of cosmetic stuff, that's okay, but you don't want any major handyman specials. Why is that? Well, because you don't, again, you got to look at worst case scenario. If you get somebody into this property and they start fixing it up and they do a crappy job and then they leave and you're stuck with a property that needs a lot of work, you're in a bad situation. So again, save yourself the hassle, save yourself the problems, the headaches, and just focus on nice homes in urban centers that are ready to move into. It can be single-family detached houses, condominiums are fine, townhomes are fine as well, but try to focus on those kind of properties in urban areas. All right. So take a look at another success story. This is my big brother Dan Dubeau, again based in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Dan was a certified financial planner for 23 years. He started doing rent-to-own in 2007 and then went to it full-time in 2009. So again, 23 years as a financial planner, how many ups and downs of the market do you think my big brother Dan saw? Lots. He saw the market going up and down several times, 3 big ones. The third one in 08, 09, he said, screw it. He'd had enough of doing all this hard work for his clients, doing the best he could to get them in the right programs, the right investments, and then have the market tank on them through no fault of his own, but yet he was the one that advised them where to put their money in different areas. It didn't work out. Who gets blamed? The financial planners. So Dan switched full-time into rent-to-own real estate investing in 2009. He's now got over 20 deals under his belt, loving every minute of it, because this is an investment he controls. He can have so much more control over than other kinds of investments. Plus, it's a much more secure investment for his investors as well. So he absolutely loves it. Dan was a co-author of our book, Rent-to-Own Profits for Canadians. He's also going to be coming to my live Rent-to-Own Profits Summit here in Kamloops this August, on August 18th and 19th, if you have the chance to meet him. In fact, when it comes to rent-to-own deals, Dave, I believe you have no peers. The course is an excellent addition to those that already have the book. You talk the talk and most definitely walk the walk. Ralph Stanfield. Okay, taking notes, step number 4, getting our client qualified. So, what have we done so far? We've gone out, we've created our marketing, we've got our marketing machine going out, we're generating lots and lots of leads. We figured out a way to quickly sift and sort through those leads and filter our prospects. When we find one that looks good, then we're going to get them into a property, either ourselves or with an investor. But once we get them into a property, that's not the end of the game. And this is the biggest mistake, write this down if you're taking notes, that I see a lot of rent-to-own investors making. And that is once they get their client into the property and the client's paying the rent, they figure, okay, that's great, my job here is done, I'll check in 2 years when it's time to finish up the deal. That's a big, big mistake. So once you get somebody into the property, you want to make sure that you're meeting with them on a regular basis. So you want to start off the whole thing by creating a plan. You want to have regular meetings at the property. How often should you have the meetings? I suggest every 3 months. A lot of people say, Dave, isn't that a little excessive? I don't think so. I think that is realistic, and the reason I want to meet with them every 3 months, and I tell them this up front, is because I'm concerned, especially here in beautiful BC, about grow-ups. I don't want to be doing a rent-to-own deal with somebody who's got a grow-up in the basement. So from my sources, I understand that it takes about 4 months for a crop to go from beginning to harvestability. So if you go in and check up on the property every 3 months, that's not enough time for them to do a whole crop, start one and end one, and have it out the door. So when I'm meeting with people, with prospective clients, I let them know this up front. I say, okay, Mr. Prospect, here's the deal. When we get this up and going, I'm going to be meeting with you at the property every 3 months. That's to check and make sure that everything's going well with the property. I also want to just check with you, make sure that things are going well with your plan to be improving your credit. And while I'm there, I just want to make sure that you don't have to grow up in the basement. I actually say that point blank. And you might laugh at that, but it's very, very true. I say it with a chuckle. I say it with a little smile. But I've had 2 people at that point get up and leave the meeting. It wasn't because they were insulted. It's because they were planning to have a grow-up in that property. So that's just a little word of warning to you. Learn from my experience. Always have that set up. So you want to, again, create a plan from the very beginning. Have those regular meetings every 3 months. They know what's going on. You want them to pull their own credit. You want to make sure that they're working on improving whatever areas need to be worked on. And if you don't want to do this yourself, you don't have to. You can hire or have them hire a professional credit counselor who can do this with them. They're very, very affordable and a very good investment. You want to work on helping them to get qualified to purchase the home from you at the end of the deal. That's the whole idea. All the while, you're enjoying this amazing monthly cash flow of $500, $800, $1,000 a month or more from a single-family home. Now, another important part is during this process, you don't have to worry about the typical tenant headaches. These folks are not like traditional tenants. They are what we call homeowners in training. Homeowners in training. So again, part of our whole lease agreement with our clients, with our tenants, is that they are responsible for the maintenance and the upkeep on the property while they're in it. It just makes sense. If I'm going to go out and buy a property for these folks, they have to be responsible for maintaining that property. If their toilet gets plugged at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to hear about it. They're going to deal with it. They're going to get the plumber. They're going to pay for it. If their fridge breaks down, I'm not going to hear about it. They're going to deal with it. They're going to get it fixed. They're going to get replaced. If the roof falls in or blows off, then I will hear about it, but insurance will take care of that. All right? So anything short of something major, our tenant, our client, is responsible for. So that just frees up that whole tenant and toilet headache scenario that so many people are concerned about. So that is a huge, huge benefit to rent-owned real estate investing. All right, here's a great success story that I absolutely love. This is a father and son team. Matt and Les Crowley. Matt is the son, Les is the father. Les is a self-employed individual who is an engineer. Very, very, very busy gentleman. Matt is a full-time university student, and unlike me, he's actually a very serious university student So he puts a lot of time and effort into it in his studies, and they do the whole business part-time. When they have time, they've set things up, and they do it on their own schedule, their own time. They've got it systematized. They've got their websites set up. They've got their marketing going out. They've got things automated so that they can do it very, very part-time. They've already got the first deal under the belts. They're based near Edmonton, Alberta. They got $10,000 upfront non-refundable option fee from their client. They're seeing $1,276 a month net positive cash flow. They're going to see a payday at the end of the deal of just under $13,000 for an overall profit of over $40,000 on their very own first rent-to-own deal. And that's absolutely phenomenal. And doing it very part-time. Dave more than over-delivered on his promise to ensure that we are successful. This course is easily worth $5,000. I've paid much more for other courses and received 10 times less than what Dave has given. If you're thinking about taking the course, stop and just do it. I'm so glad that I did, and I don't regret a penny. That's from Jeffrey Free in Edmonton, Alberta. All right, step number 5, last but not least, cashing the checks. All right, so we're going to talk about how the money works. So we're getting upfront money. So for somebody to get involved in a rent-to-own deal with me, they have to have some significant skin in the game. How much, everybody asks me? Well, if I'm doing a client-first deal, I'm looking for at least 4% of the initial purchase price of the home as upfront in the form of a non-refundable option fee. Now people say, well, Dave, 4%. People can get into a house with 5% down. Well, yes, that's true. It's 5% plus closing costs, property transfer fees, etc., plus they have to be able to qualify for a mortgage. And like I said, 20 to 30% of Canadians who can afford a mortgage right now can't qualify for a mortgage. So if they could, they would go that route, and that would make sense, but they can't. So that non-refundable option fee applies towards their down payment when they purchase the house from you. So it's not like the money goes away. It applies towards your down payment, their down payment, when they purchase the home from you. But if for any reason they flake out on the deal, they forfeit that option fee. I'll repeat that. If they flake out on the deal, they forfeit that option fee. So the more money you get up front from these folks, the more serious you know they are about completing the deal, the more comfortable you should feel about doing the deal with them. Never get into a deal where somebody does not have any skin in the game. They have to have some significant cash in the game. Next, we've got our monthly cash flow, $500, $800, $1,000 a month or more net positive cash flow. So everybody asks me, Dave, how do we get that kind of cash flow, especially from a single-family home in Kamloops or Kelowna or Vernon or Vancouver? How can we get that kind of cash flow? It just doesn't jive with what the market rents are around the area. Well, there's several reasons, several ways that we get this as well. So the first thing is I charge above market rent for my properties. So for example, if a property would rent here in Kamloops for $1,500 or $1,600 a month, I'm typically renting that same property to my tenant buyer for $2,000 or $2,100 a month. So we're looking at $400 or $500 right there in difference in rent. Now, why on earth would they pay above market rent? Very, very good question. The reason is because I'm also giving them what are called rental credits. So you remember that upfront money, that option fee applies towards their down payment when they purchase the property. That's 4%. They're going to need more than that to purchase the property 2 or 3 years down the road. So the rental credits are kind of a forced savings account for these folks, and that extra money gets credited towards their down payment when they purchase the property. If they don't purchase the property, if they flake out on the property or what have you, again, that money is forfeited. But in the meantime, that's pure cash flow to you as part of the deal. So that's where a big chunk of that comes in from. Plus, the way I structure my deal with my investors is I pay them usually in a balloon payment at the end of the deal. So that conserves some of the cash flow as well, helps towards the monthly cash flow. So between that and a few other little things, that is how we create that massive cash flow each and every month. Then we've got the cash out at the end of the deal. So again, if we're buying the property at today's price, obviously we're going to sell it to our tenant, to our client, in 2 or 3 years at a higher price. It just makes sense, right? We buy it at price A, we're going to sell it at price B being higher. We agree ahead of time at what the final price is going to be. And what I look at are what are the appreciation rates in the city I'm in right now, what are the average appreciation rates, or what are the national average appreciation rates, and that's what I base it on. So typically we're looking at 3.5% to 5% appreciation depending on the property and depending on the area. So that's going to make a nice chunk of difference between the purchase price and the final price, plus the mortgage pay down during the term. So at the end of the term, by the time you credit back your client their option fee and their rental credits, you pay out your investor their initial investment plus the interest that you promised them, there's still enough left over at the end of the deal for a nice little check for you at the end of the whole program. So again, typically we're looking at $2,000 to $10,000 paycheck per deal at the end of the deal. And that is the three-way payday. Money up front, monthly cash flow, phenomenal monthly cash flow, and nice little pops of cash at the end of the deals as well. All right, there we go. So again, show me the money, the option fee. That's money up front, non-refundable option fee. Applies towards the down payment when they purchase the property. Again, that's on paper. In the meanwhile, you have full use of it. And if they don't go through the deal, you keep that money. Again, the outstanding cash flow during the deal, above market rents, 20 to 30% above market rent. That's cash flow to you. It's a credit to them, but again, that's on paper. And it goes towards the down payment, but you still get full use of that those funds in the meantime. And payment to the investors is at the end of the deal, usually not during the deal in the way of cash flow. And nice checks at closing. So you got the appreciation amount during the deal, mortgage pay amount, credit you credit back the option fee of the rental credits, you pay out your investor with their blue payment at the end, and again, usually $2,000 to $10,000 payday left over for you at the end of the deal as well. Here's another success story. Gene and Alan Michu from Spring Coulee, Alberta. That's a little town near Lethbridge. They took a rent-own training. They already have one deal under the belts, looking at a total of just over $40,000 in profit. They say, thanks, Dave. As usual, you're a great source of information and an inspiration. Can't wait to put this into action. They already have. They got their first deal on the go. Here's one of my favorite success stories. So this is Rick Wheeler from St. Albert, Alberta. And again, Rick is a self-employed individual as a full-time employee. He works full-time at his normal work, but he's also a successful investor already. He had 8 properties in his portfolio, and 2 of them were underperforming. So he took the program. So this is very important. If you already have some properties and you're looking at a way, how can I sell this property for full value without getting whacked with real estate commissions, without having to come way down and negotiate way down on the price? Or if you've got a property that's a rental that you're having a hard time renting out, or you're having to really compete hard for rental prices, or it's negative cash flow, this is a phenomenal solution for you as well. That was the situation Rick was in, had 2 underperforming houses. So he took the program, he applied it to his own properties. On one of them, he got a $14,000 non-refundable option fee on one. On the other, he got a $40,000 option fee on the other. Again, non-refundable. He's going to sell for full price, enjoy above average rents, and 0 tenant hassles in the meanwhile. Needless to say, Rick is absolutely ecstatic. This is what he had to say. I'm on my 3rd deal now and loving every second of it. My goal for 2012 was to generate 4 rent-owned deals, but with 3 done, and it only being March, I might need to reassess my goals. I guess so. All right, so that goes to show you. And again, like I say, Rick is working full-time. He's doing this very, very part-time. He's got the system set up. He's got it automated as much as possible. It's a part-time thing for him, which is definitely generating an extra full-time income for him. So what I want to do now is show you the profit potential of this rent-owned business with some real examples from my own portfolio here in Kamloops. If it works here, it will work well wherever you live as well. So here's a little example deal. This is a townhouse here in Kamloops. In this case, I got $15,000 up front. I'm seeing $767 a month net monthly cash flow. Another $6,000 payday at the end of the 2 years. Total profit, just over $39,000 on this townhome. This is an example of my very first rent-to-own deal. It was a sandwich lease that I did here in Kamloops. And this is a way for you to get involved in rent-to-own real estate investing, even if you don't have or don't want to put any cash into the deal, don't want to qualify for a mortgage, don't want to have to find an investor or somebody who can qualify for the mortgage. This is a way for you to get into rent-to-own real estate investing with no money down, no investors, and practically no risk as well. So pay close attention to how this concept works. So this particular property, through my marketing, and I became very, very good at marketing for motivated sellers. Through my marketing, I found a motivated seller who approached me and said, Dave, I've got this property. I want to get rid of it. I want to get out of it. And it was during a time where the market was kind of slow here in Kamloops. This was 03, 04, before everything started picking right up. And this gentleman was a very frustrated landlord. So he'd read a book somewhere where it said real estate investing is a good thing. He stopped reading the book right there, ran out and bought an investment property. And everything seemed to go well for him for the first year or two. And then he started to get tenants from hell. So again, this gentleman did not educate himself very much about how to be a professional real estate investor. He just kind of went by the, went off the cuff, so to speak. And it was just bad tenant after bad tenant. The first batch of bad tenants, he had a drug dealer in the house and had a heck of a time evicting that person. The drug dealer turned it into a druggie house, so there were drug addicts hanging around. This guy's neighbors absolutely hated him. He finally got rid of that guy, rented the house out again, and it turned out it was the biker guy that rented the house. So he invited his biker buddies over with their loud Harley Davidsons and whatnot, and they partied it up, wrecked the house, didn't pay the rent. He had to evict them again, spend a heck of a lot of money getting the house fixed up again for rental. I was starting to get really sick and tired of the whole landlord thing. Then he finally found a single mom who looked like she was ideal. She came in, she was very well dressed, had a good job, good references, very professional in appearance and the way she spoke. She was a single mom. He thought, well, this is great. This will be a good tenant. So she moved in, but she forgot to tell him about her drug-dealing biker boyfriend who also moved in with her. So it was just the whole scene over again, months and months and months to get them out of there, wreck the property again, and by that time he just had it. So he came to me and I proposed a win-win-win situation for him. And I said, look, here's what I'll do. I'll do a sandwich lease with you. That means I'm going to lease this property from you with an option to purchase and a right to sublet it. And I'm going to sublet it to a client of mine who I'm going to rent to own it to for the next 2 or 3 years while I help them get qualified for a mortgage. At the end of that time, they're going to buy the house, and it'll basically skip over me. You'll be selling the house through me to them, and we'll all be happy. So I'm going to be paying you X per month for rent. They're going to be paying me X plus whatever. That's part of my profit. I've got an option on this property to buy this from you for this amount at the end of the 2 years. They're going to pay me something higher than that. That's my profit as well. As long as you're happy with what you're getting and I'm happy with what we're getting and it's a win-win, then it's no problem. So that worked out very, very well. I got a client in there, and actually it was supposed to be an 18-month deal. It turned out to be a 20-month deal, but still a very, very short deal. I got $650 a month net cash flow between the difference between what I was paying the landlord and what they were paying me, and I saw a total profit on that deal of just over $30,000. Again, with no money down, no investors, and minimal risk. Now, you may or may not have heard of Paul Hecht. You probably have if you're from Kelowna. Paul was a very well-known real estate agent and real estate expert in and around Kelowna for many years. And he was a guest expert with me when I was creating this home study program. He's the author of Everyday Real Estate Millionaires and someone who has done many sandwich leases. So when I was teaching about sandwich leases, I had some experience in that, but Paul has a heck of a lot more than I did. So I had him come in and co-teach this part of the program with me. I learned a lot. I took a lot of notes, and I was very, very pleased to be able to show Paul a very simple little addition to my contract, which virtually eliminates all of your risk from doing sandwich leases. And Paul said that just that one little idea was worth more than the entire price of the program and then some. So how'd you like to get those kind of no money, no investors, super low risk rent-to-own deals? I hope you said yes. All right, very good. So again, here's another example deal. That first one I showed you, $12,000 up front, a little over $1,100 a month cash flow, total profit just over $41,000 on this one single family home in a 2-year deal. And that one's coming up here in August, actually, for me. There's another example, a townhouse in Kamloops, a small deal. This is a starter family home, $8,000 up front, $603 a month cash flow, total profit of just over $33,000 over 2 years. Another property in Merritt, $11,586 up front, just over $1,000 a month per cash flow. Another $2,300 payday at the end of the 2 years. Total profit, just over $39,000 on this property. And here's an example of a mobile home that we're doing here in Kamloops. Mobile home, but Dave, I can hear you say, you just told us 14 slides back, any kind of property that you must absolutely avoid at all costs are mobile homes, especially in mobile home parks. That's very, very true. When you're doing the client-first rent-to-own method, I do highly recommend you avoid mobile homes at all costs. However, you can do them with sandwich leases. I mean, what the heck? If you've got no money into it, no investors involved, and minimal risk, why not? What have you got to lose? Nothing. The other thing I like about these as sandwich leases is it's a much more affordable home that people can get into, so you can work with folks who have lower incomes than you would normally need otherwise. So to give you an idea, the other reason I like to put this example out there is because this is the kind of deal anybody can do. Anybody can do a little mobile home deal. With this particular deal, I got $3,000 up front from my tenant, from my client. I'm getting $325 a month net positive cash flow. Total profit over 2 years, just under $13,000 on this little deal. Now, compared to $39,000, $41,000, you know, $500, $800, $1,000 a month cash flow, that kind of thing, this might not seem that exciting. But it is. You've got to remember back, what is the typical cash flow that people are seeing from their typical buy and hold properties? $50, $75 a month. I'm getting as much cash flow from this one little trailer that I don't even own as other investors are getting from 4, 5, or 6 traditional buy and hold properties. And that's all with no money down, no investors, and absolutely minimal risk. So if that's the situation, why not do it? And I like to share that example because, again, anybody can do a little rent-to-own deal like this on a mobile home. All right, another example deal here in Kamloops. This one I got $14,000 up front. It's a kind of a bigger property. I'm seeing just under $900 a month net positive cash flow. Total profit just over $52,000. Now the profit on this one's quite a bit higher because this is actually a 3-year deal, not a 2-year deal. So one of the things I've found, I've been doing these kind of presentations for the last 6 months, and I find that the majority of folks could be financially free with just 4 or 5 little rent-to-own deals on the go. All right? Now you're a business owner, you're in business for yourself already. What I'm going to say to you is with just 4 or 5 little rent-to-own deals, you could create another equivalent of a full-time income with very, very part-time work. Why do I say it's part-time work? Because you can use the resources, the experience, the things that you already have on hand for this business. So if you have a brick-and-mortar type of business, you can run this business out of that same business. You don't have to pay any more rent. You've got your telephones taken care of, your fax machines taken care of, your equipment taken care of. If you've got staff that isn't busy all the time, which most of us probably do have some staff like that, we can get those people utilize their time better by doing some of these kind of, some of the activities that we need done for a rent-to-own business as well. So it's all about leveraging what you already have and maximizing the value of it. So again, with 3, 4, 5 little rent-to-own deals on the go, you have created the equivalent of a very good full-time income with very part-time effort. Now, the rent-to-own cash-on-demand system has everything you need to get on your path with super profitable rent-to-own real estate investing. So I want to help you to get to you. I want to help you achieve your goals and your why, whatever that might be, whether it's spending more time with your family, it's having more money, buying nice things, creating an extra income, helping out your favorite cause, whatever it might be, whatever is your major purpose, your goals, that's what I'm out to help you achieve with my rent-to-own cash-on-demand system for Canadians. So before I give you the opportunity, I wanted to show you the features and benefits of the system. So overall, if you take this system and you apply what you learn, it's going to save you time and make you money. If you learn from me and my mistakes and all of my experience, it becomes a much quicker and easier process for you. It's a huge competitive advantage. Sure, there are other people out there doing rent-to-own real estate investing, but not very many of them are treating it like a business and doing it professionally. That's what I'm going to show you how to do. So what are the different components of the program? First thing is the Rent-to-Own Online Training University, which you're going to have instant and immediate access to as early as today when you enroll in the program. You can get up and running today if you want. So late last year I put on an 8-week online training program, went through the A to Z of how the whole rent-to-own business works, opened the books on exactly how I do business here in Kamloops, shared everything with my students, and I recorded that whole thing on DVDs, audio CDs, created manuals, created the whole thing, and I put this up online for instant access. So you can watch the videos, listen to MP3s, download them onto your iPods, iPhones, what have you. You've got instant access to all of the materials online. That's the first part of the program, and that's a very real-world value of $19.95 at least. Next, we've got the rent-to-own cash-on-demand recordings, handouts, and PowerPoint slides. So I took all of that material and made a hard copy version of it as well. We've got the DVDs, the CDs, the manuals, the handouts, all of the documentation, all included, all printed out and in hard copy format, which is going to be yours as part of the program. That's a very real $699 value right there. Next, we've got the rent-to-own profits deal calculator and software. So I had a computer program, put all of this together for you for an easy-to-use way of calculating to see whether a deal is a good one, not a good one, what you need to do to make it a good deal. And this is a very real $797 value. It costs a lot more than that to put the whole thing together. Next, you've got the legal library, the forms, contracts, and paperwork, all the paperwork you need to make these kind of deals and to do them properly and legally and cover your assets. So I invested a lot of money in getting this legal paperwork done. It's included for you free of charge with this program. That's a very real $1,200 value. It cost me a lot more than that to get the paperwork done up in the first place. And beautiful thing is, I do business here in Kamloops, BC. You're located in BC. These templates work in BC. These are the documents you need to do rent-to-own deals here in British Columbia. I also have all the documentation for folks in Alberta as well. Next, we've got my rent-to-own dealmaker blueprint. So this gives you the big 30,000-foot perspective of how the whole business works. Once you go through the program, you're up and running. You put this up on your wall somewhere easy to see. Make sure that you've got all of the pieces of the puzzle plugged in. A very easy way to follow along. It's a phenomenal visual aid of the whole rent-to-own process. Next great thing, you get access to me and my team with any of your rent-to-own questions and concerns with our Freedom to Profit Unlimited online coaching. What does this mean? This means I've got a specific email address that you can use at any time, and I will answer your questions usually within 24 hours during the week. So any questions you have about the program, deals that you're working on, what have you, that's all covered here with unlimited online coaching. That's a very real-world value of $995 for sure. Step of approval, deal review. So let's say you're up and running. When you're up and running, you're working on your first deal, chances are you're going to be a little bit nervous. Hey, no problem. Use one of these stamp of approval deal reviews. Put the numbers on there. Zap it off to me. I'll take a quick look at it, see if it makes sense to me or not, if there's any pitfalls, if there are any booby traps that you're not aware of. I'll make you aware of them. If there's something we can do to make it a better deal, I'll let you know about that. It's like me holding your hand through your first rent-to-own real estate deal. So that's a phenomenal value there. I don't know what it's worth, so I'll put down it's priceless. Then we want to get you up and going fast. There's a lot of material in here, so I've created a fast start guide and CD just to get you up and going very, very quickly, what you need to focus on, where you need to get going, how to get up and running fast with this business. Okay, that's a lot of stuff, so let's take a quick look at everything that is included. So we've got the online university, cash on demand recordings, the hard copies of everything, the deal calculator and software, all your legal forms and contracts and paperwork included, my deal maker blueprint, the unlimited online coaching, my stamp of approval deal review. So far, the total value of just this part of the program is well over $6,400. All right? Now let me ask you a question. If all this system did was help you get your first little rent-to-own deal and you made an extra $30,000 or $40,000, would it be worth the investment? Of course it would. If all this system did was get you 4 or 5 rent-to-own deals and create an additional full-time income with part-time effort, very part-time effort, would it be worth the investment? Of course it would. If all this system did was show you how to become financially free with real estate investing, live life on your own terms, would it be worth it? Of course it would. Are you ready for that now? I sure hope so, because I got a phenomenal offer for you. So total value $6,477. Your risk-free investment, usually when I have this available online, is $2,997 cold hard cash. But I've got a special opportunity for you today. Here's the deal. It's $1,997. Okay, and this offer is a very special trade exchange member offer only. And here's the best part. I'm going to make that available to you at 100% trade. That's right, 100% trade. Why am I doing this? Because I know when I'm doing trade, I appreciate it so much when people do 100% trade. That's how I got out to that event all those years ago. That's how I learned what I needed to learn to take my business to the next level, to start working with Fast Track and Darren Weeks to create a multi-million-dollar business. It was all from an idea that I learned at an event that I went to through Trade Exchange that I invested in at 100% trade. I want to make something like that available to you as well. If you think real estate investing is what you'd like to get involved in, if you like the idea of rent-owned real estate investing, I want to make it available to you at 100% trade. The other reason is I love trade. I actually absolutely get a kick out of trade and Trade Exchange. I use it a lot. When I have money in my account, I'm a very active member. This is a way for me to create some trade funds in my account. I'm always looking for that because I get a lot of value out of being a Trade Exchange member. So I'm only making this available for 5 Trade Exchange members maximum, or until this Friday, June the 8th, whichever comes first. And I'll show you how to get that. If you're curious, you can go to resultsenterprisesinc.com/TEC.html. I know that's a mouthful there for you. Resultsenterprisesinc.com/TEC.html. And there you can download a PDF. Again, this is a very, very special offer for trade members, so I don't have my regular online merchant account set up for this because I'm offering it at 100% trade. All you have to do is pay for the taxes with your credit card. The rest is 100% trade. And remember, you're going to have instant access to the online university. You can get started right away, and the rest of the materials will be arriving in your mailbox or at your door within the next 3 to 4 business days. Okay, and again, taxes by credit card. So go ahead, check out that website. If you wrote it down, I'll make it available at the end as well. You're going to get access to everything, all of those programs as well. And I'm making you my personal 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. Even though this is a 100% trade offer, I'm still going to make this available to you as well. So take action now. Try the complete system for 90 days. If you aren't absolutely thrilled for any reason, simply send the system back to me for a complete, no hassles, no problem refund. I'll refund you all of your trade dollars plus all of the taxes that you paid as well, so you're at absolutely no risk. I take all the risk away from you, put it firmly on my own shoulders, and that is my personal ironclad guarantee. I've got over 150 students who've taken this program. I know what it can do. I know what it can do for you. I know the quality of the program, and I'm sure you're going to be thrilled with it. Now, I've got some fast action bonuses as well, just to sweeten the pot a little bit. So I'm giving you all of the different bonuses and options that I typically make when I'm selling this program all cash for the same price. You as Trade Exchange members get that as well. So first fast action bonus is an autographed copy of Rent-to-Own Profits for the Canadians, my new book that I wrote with my big brother Dan, and I'll personally autograph and dedicate it just for you. What's the value of that? My goodness. Regular value is $24.95, but with that autograph, goodness knows, I think it's priceless. All right, fast action bonus number 2, personal rent-own strategy session with me. So this is something that you can use anytime for the next 12 months, where you can get a one-on-one telephone consultation with me, 30 to 45 minutes. Any questions you have about rent-own business, I'll be happy to help you. If you're going through a deal, happy to help you with a deal. Whatever you want to talk about, that's included in that personal rent-own strategy with me. Real world value at least $995. Next, very, very cool. August 18th and 19th, write that down in your agenda. I'm having a Rent-Own Profits Summit here in Kamloops. 2 days of solid training, getting my most up-to-date information, being able to network and get to know other rent-to-own real estate investors. And this is all included for free as part of this program. I'm going to feed you lunch both days, dinner on Saturday night. Everything's included for you and a guest for free when you take advantage of this program right now. That's a very real value of at least $1,997. And I'm not sure if this is going to work, so let me try this. See if the audio works.
He's put on a fantastic weekend here for all of us. We've all learned some valuable stuff that's going to make us.
All right, I hope you were able to hear that. Sometimes technology doesn't work quite as well as I want, but you never know. That's one of our Rent-Own Profit Summit attendees. I'll skip that one just because I don't think the audio is working properly. All right, we got to give the technology a minute here to go by. There we go. Okay, not only that, but you get lifetime reattendance to any and all summits that I put on in the future. So right now, I'm planning on having 1 or 2 summits a year. This is actually the second summit. The first one I put on back in January. I'm having this one in August. Anytime I have another Rent-Own Profit Summit, you are welcome to attend with a guest at no cost. So if you only attend one extra summit, that's another value of just under $2,000. Okay, and here's an optional mega bonus, and I want to make this available to you as well. So this is my More Deals Now marketing program specifically for real estate investors. So again, when I did my 18 flips in 18 months, the thing that allowed me to do that was that I was very, very good at attracting motivated sellers to me. And I'm going to show you exactly how I do this in this More Deals Now marketing system. Plus, you're going to get a 2-month trial of the Canadian Profits Gold combo level. What does that mean? That is our Canadian Real Estate Profits Program and Canadian Business Profits Program, where in each one we've got over a dozen of Canada's leading real estate and business experts who all write exclusive articles just for this program. Each month we also have an audio CD success interview, one for real estate, one for real estate for business as well. It's all focused on Canada, Canadian real estate investing, Canadian small business. Phenomenal program. Sold separately, they're $49.95 each. Together, it's $69.95 per month. You get a free 2-month trial when you take this optional mega bonus. Try it out for 2 months. If you like it, like most people do, you can continue on for the discounted rate of only $69.95 a month. Otherwise, you can downgrade to one or the other for just $49.95 a month, or cancel altogether without paying an extra dime. So that's an optional bonus. If you're interested in doing sandwich leases, you'll definitely want to get this program because, again, if you're doing sandwich leases, you need to attract motivated sellers to you as well. All right, so we'll quickly go over the whole thing again. So we've got the online training university, we've got the hard copy of everything, the deal calculator, the contracts, the paperwork, the deal maker blueprint, unlimited online coaching, my stamp of approval deal review, the quick start guide and CD, autographed copy of the Rent-to-Own Profits for Canadians, personal strategy session with me, and Rent-to-Own Profits Summit re-attendance for life, and the optional mega bonus, the trial and more deals now marketing system. Total value just under $13,000. Again, your investment today is only $1,997, and that's at 100% trade. So again, I'll ask you, if all this system did was get you your first little $30,000 rent-to-own deal, would it be worth the investment, especially at 100% trade? Of course it would. If all this system did was get you 4 or 5 rent-to-own deals and create a full-time extra income, in addition to whatever you're doing with your current business, without using any outside resources, using what you already have, would it be worth the investment? Of course it did. If all this system did was show you how to be financially free, live life on your own terms, would it be worth it? Would you like that now? Well, now is definitely the time to take advantage of this special opportunity. Again, it's on for 100% trade. All you have to do is pay the taxes separately. There are 5 of these available, or until Friday, June the 8th, whichever comes first. And again, here's some more comments about this. Dave more than over-delivered on his promise to ensure that we are successful. This course is easily worth $5,000. I've paid much more for other courses and received 10 times less than what Dave has given. If you're thinking about taking the course, stop and just do it. I'm so glad that I did, and I don't regret a penny. Jeffrey Free from Edmonton. These folks have a great testimonial, but we can't hear it very well. Basically, they created the first sandwich lease, looking at a $40,000 deal over 2 years. Another smash hit program. I went in hoping to expand my understanding of different types of real estate investing, came out with an operating business. We accomplish what you're constantly drilling into our heads: under promise and over deliver. Malcolm Stutter from Fort Mac. Dave, this has been a phenomenal course. If I had any doubts about going into this business, they're now gone, and you've prevented me, I'm sure, from making many of these mistakes I would have made trying to do it by myself. Thanks to Dan. He was a good compliment to you. Ron Geddert from Abbotsford, BC. Last time I heard, Ron was working on 3 deals. Hey, Dave, all I can say is I'm so glad I made the decision to get in on the program. You definitely over-exceeded my expectations. The people you brought in the calls I felt were an amazing addition. I truly felt like it should be 5 times what I paid for the training. Very well thought out program and excellent support throughout the modules. Rick Wheeler from St. Albert. Here's one of my favorites. Thank you for all your effort and hard work. That was freaking amazing. I never thought I'd learn so much. I thought with all the seminars and networking I've been to, I never thought I'd learn more in a webinar. Anyone who comes across this, sign up quick before Dave figures out what it's worth, that it's worth more than you advertise it for. I would have paid double. Thanks again, Dave. That's from Ray Cavallou from Winnipeg, Manitoba. All right, so there you are, folks. I want to thank you very much for your time on the call today. Again, resultsenterprisesinc.com/tech.html, and that'll give you a PDF of the enrollment form. Just print that out, complete it, fax it in to the number at the bottom of it, or you can call in at 1-866-680-3842 and order with our live operator. I want to thank you very, very much for your time. I hope you're as excited about rent-to-own real estate investing as I am. I absolutely love this. I have a full-time business in addition to the rent-to-own. I do that very, very part-time, yet it has created a full-time income, an extra full-time income for me. That's what I want for you as well, as a fellow Trade Exchange member. And I'm offering it to you at 100% trade. The same deal, all the same bonuses that I charge full cash for, you're getting at the discounted rate and at 100% trade. So again, I'm only making 5 of these available, or until this Friday, June the 8th, whichever comes first. So thank you very much. Look forward to working with you and helping you be a successful rent-to-own real estate investor. Good night.